and Marotta. Bickley and Marotta mornings. Arizona sports. The local sports leader. Bickley Blast.
Clues are starting to drop, and so is the surreal fantasy of LeBron and son coming to Planet Orange. For example, the Lakers are zeroing in on hiring JJ Redick as head coach, and he happens to be LeBron's podcast partner, and he would not be taking the job if LeBron was about to leave Los Angeles. Meanwhile, the Suns just hired Darvin Ham, the head coach the Lakers just fired, and that collective yawn out of Los Angeles tells you how little they really believe that LeBron would play basketball for $2.7 million a year, about the same wage as his son if Bronny were selected by the Suns with the 22nd pick in the draft. So it's not happening, to which I say, good, because the Suns do not need to get older. They do not need to pander to some paternal fantasy. After all, this is a basketball team that had only 23 lob dunks all of last season, second worst in the league, and 8 of them came from Chimezie Metu, who was gone by trade deadline, which means this team desperately needs to get younger and desperately needs to get more athletic, not older, and more plotting. And either way, this is actually great news for me, because I do not want our sons to be about his son, and because I really do not want to spend the next few weeks talking myself into liking LeBron James. All right, today's Bickley Blast brought to you by my great friends at Chapman BMW, who make luxury attainable. Find them online at chapmanbmw.com.
I would say this. My focus right now is on calling the NBA Finals. I am so fortunate that I'm in this position and I get to call these finals with Doris and Mike. And I mentioned the State Farm thing that I just did on YouTube. My day-to-day right now is consumed with calling games, the 19 different podcasts I feel like I have, my obligations to all of our partners. So my focus is on the NBA Finals. I will say that.
Translation. That's JJ Redick on Gojo and Golic saying, I'll be the Lakers head coach when the finals are over. So
that really should, I think, if you're someone who is steeped in logic, that should shut the book on this whole LeBron, Bronny teaming up in Phoenix. And as Vinny pointed out, I misspoke in the blast. They attempted to hire Darvin Ham. They did not hire him. He was burnt out from 2 years with LeBron James.
2 exacting seasons with the Lakers.
He apparently turned them down.
But the fact that they offered him a job still makes the point valid.
Yes.
That by willing to bring him in, that this is the guy that was fired that was coaching LeBron, was another clue that this is kind of not going to happen. So again, I feel good about this, actually, even though I had begun to talk myself into this was the last Grand Slam swing available for this basketball team. And we all did this. We went through this exercise on the air, and it was getting uncomfortable for me. I even wrote about it, and you mentioned that it was like this stream of consciousness that, you know what, we're going to end up embracing this guy because that's what we do as sports fans.
Like you were gearing up to convince yourself, like, okay, if this is going to happen, let's just embrace it. And I didn't completely shoot down the possibility, and I was not nearly as far down the road as you were on convincing myself that I could get behind this. I wanted no part of it. I still want no part of it. And, you know, if this, and I feel the same way you do, this JJ Redick report from Shams Charania, and the report yesterday said they're zeroing in on him. And again, you hear JJ kind of spinning his wheels on Gojo and Golic today.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to answer that question. The Lakers have waited this long to hire a coach. They can wait another week and a half until the finals are over, and then they can plop JJ Redick in, and he can, and I feel horrible saying this about JJ Redick because I like him. I think him leaving the broadcast booth is a loss for basketball fans, but he's also going into a no-win situation where he will be viewed as LeBron James' puppet from day one.
Without a doubt. And that's what that job demands. Exactly.
Let's wash our hands of
I totally
it
agree
and
with
move on and
totally
focus on the team in town.
And how about that stat that I referenced in the blast that they had only 23 lob dunks last year, all of last season?
You know, during the Western Conference Finals, my son texted me about Dallas, that they had 49 lob dunks in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
And this was while the series was still going on. And that's more than the Suns had all season.
All season long. And
I can't even picture it in my head. Who would be throwing the pass?
To who?
Yeah, to who?
No,
Right.
not who's throwing it. Who's catching
Well, that's what I'm
it
saying.
and dunking
Throwing
it.
it in.
That's what it is.
Throwing it and catching it.
DeAndre
Right.
Ayton was that outlet for the Suns.
It
Not-
sounds, it was Chris Paul and DeAndre. It
Yes.
sounds crazy until you try to picture it throughout the season, and you can't really do it.
Yeah. So 15 lob dunks when you take Chimezie Metu out of the equation. That's not good.
Which they did.
Yeah, which exactly what they did. Yeah, and Dallas and Utah were 1 and 2 atop the most lob dunks, and they were in like the 130s, I want to say.
Yeah, well,
So
Dallas has two centers in Gafford and Lively that just live on that.
Yeah, right, exactly.
So if you're taking LeBron now out of the equation, are you now safe to take Bronny out of the equation?
I don't know if I'm there yet. I'm moving towards that, but they're still bringing him in for a workout. It's they're bringing in 30 some odd players for workouts. He's one of them. Are they? The reaction to it initially was they only have one draft pick, 22. They can't draft him at 22. Are they kicking the tires? Maybe trying to get a second round pick. I don't know. I have a hard time believing what Shams Charania reported on that, too, that the Suns' interest in Bronny James is solely focused on Bronny and not connected, because it just doesn't make sense.
That would be very deflating if that's what our front office has
as
become.
currently constructed, this is not a team to take a flyer on a player who could develop into something 3 or 4 years from now.
No.
And that's been this organization's attitude toward the draft for 4 years.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly right. So you either, I heard Gamble mention you could maybe send it off to the Lakers, that pick, and get a bunch of seconds. I don't know if I would do that. Seconds they're like garbage in today's NBA. Yeah, you can throw them into deals, but it's not like having a first rounder.
There's value to them, and you can find players in with second round picks, but for a team that has struggled like the Suns has to identify first round picks that are going to help them.
Right.
That process gets more difficult and cloudy in the second round.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So I hope the Suns have some options. I hope they have some plans. I hope they have some guys, because youthful athleticism is definitely missing from the mix here.
Oh, yes. And Kellen Olson's got we're 22 days away from the NBA draft, or at least we were when he posted his first 22 for 22. He's going to have 22 different articles on the offseason.
Wow.
Why the Phoenix Suns 2024 NBA draft pick is so valuable. You can read that now on ArizonaSports.com. Of course, Kellen breaking it down like nobody else.
Thanks for watching Bickley and Marotta. Click to see the latest Bickley Blast and hit the button in the middle to subscribe to Arizona Sports.